Alright, so I'm filming this a little out of order, but we've done probably, this video is composed of probably 2 months worth of footage. And in between the first video and now, I have insulated and put walls up here in the garage. That took about a month and a half, but in this episode we're going to clean up some more engine parts, pick up all the maintenance parts from the shop, get the engine painted and primed, and start putting some stuff into the engine itself. We'll get it back on the stand. I think we'll end this episode with the completion of paint, and the next episode will be all about assembling the bottom end here. So yeah, a lot has kind of transpired since the last video, but we're making it happen. And I also have brand new set of brakes over here for the 944 from our friends at Rock Auto. They are vented and slotted, and I bought those because the brakes on here are old. They're not, the pads are fine, but there's some pretty heavy grooves in the discs themselves, so we want to get that fixed, squared away. I think drilled and slotted rotors will be great for now. Maybe upgrade them down the road because those weren't super expensive. And then lastly, I think part of the reason why I got brakes now is because I do have extended studs that are going all around here, so we can run spacers and get the stance kind of dialed in. I'll probably do a separate video on that and just kind of cover what goes into stancing these cars, because it's a little bit more difficult than some of the newer Porsches and Volkswagens that have bolts. The bolts themselves, it's easy. You can get spacers and longer bolts, but this you have to kind of disassemble the wheel hub and take the brake rotors off, extract the old studs, and put longer ones in. So I'll cover that one. But anyways, hope you enjoyed the episode, and yeah, have a good one. So today we're heading over to JFJ to pick up all my maintenance parts. He was able to get me some good pricing on all the chains and guides and gaskets and all that fun stuff. So we're going to pick that up, and we're also going to go sandblast this upper timing chain cover just because I forgot to have that hot dipped or hot tanked with the rest of the parts when I was at the machine shop. So I want to clean that up so everything looks good together. So today we're going to wash a couple of the parts that are going into the engine, mainly the oil squirters that go in first before I can assemble everything in here. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to test out this new kind of Vevor ultrasonic cleaner just to clean everything up, all the nuts and bolts that go into the engine to match how clean the engine currently looks. So let's get on that. I got some warm water and some Evapo Rust. Is supposed to be good for cleaning up bolts, and so fill in this machine and try it out. So I did grab some warm water to help it warm up a little bit faster out here. I think I might need a little bit more, but we should be good because what we're using for drying is really small. Now I learned this online. One way to preserve the machine and get it to work a little bit better for smaller parts is to use a sandwich bag. So I'm going to actually fill the sandwich bag with the Evapo-Rust and put the oil squirters in there. I'm going to test it out with these first, since they do have to go into the engine before everything else, and then from there see how it works, and we'll reevaluate if we're going to do more. So got all my hardware for the engine in here. Pull out these oil jets or oil squirters and throw them into a baggie here. Don't want these to get gunked up. Alright, got the bolts here. Probably put some gloves on. Don't get this stuff on my hands, but too lazy. Try our best to get this in here without making a mess. We will close that up, and we'll turn this machine on. Put this up as high as we can. We will let that warm up. It's on. We'll go wave. Throw the basket in. Alright, so that's been in there for about 10 minutes, so let's check it out. I'm going to say that was successful considering the color of the water. Let's see if I can poke one of these through. As you can see, they look good as new. So I'm going to drain these, and I might try some more hardware in there next. I think I will call that a success. They're a little bit hot. Look brand new. See if I can get this to focus for you guys, but came out really good. They look brand new. I was going to figure out what bolts to do next. Maybe I'll try some of the timing bolts in there. These guys. And maybe these guys too. I think I decided I'm also going to try these, as they're pretty rusty. See how they come out. Those bolts are for the harmonic balancer. Put the ultrasonic motion on here. Let's see if I can get you guys a good view of the bolts so you can see what happens when you turn it on. Alright, we're going to turn it on. Alright, let's see how we did. Nope. Bolts are too big for the gasket. Bag is very melted, but it worked. Kept the machine mostly clean. Alright guys, so I gotta say I'm pretty pumped with how this came out. Everything looks good as new. Let's see, I'll pick one up. So these were completely rusted on the heads, and they look brand new. These, you saw these before, they were brown. You got their shine back here. And then this was brown as well. This is just like a retainer plate for one of the, I guess, timing tensioner pulley, but that was all brown. It looks brand new. So, yeah, pretty pumped with how this thing works out. This is on Vevor. And then the Evapo Rust, I was just reading online what people were using in these, and they just recommend that you put it in a baggie. It helps protect the machine. And then you also can use way less Evapo Rust per kind of cleaning. So empty this stuff out. There's a little spigot here. Put it in the bucket down there and dump it, and we'll get on to the other stuff. There isn't too many more like internal nuts and bolts I have to clean. Like a lot of these are one-time use, so I'll have to get rid of them, but I will end up just pretty much doing all of these just so everything looks as clean as the engine does. But I'm pretty happy with how it worked out. I'm looking forward to getting everything cleaned up. Okay, so let's check out the results here. So if you look at these bolts, and these are all the ones I cleaned here. And then these are kind of some of the old ones. So they used to look like this, or let's see if we get another one. They're rusty like this. And see the oil jets. Everything kind of looks brand new. These ones didn't come out perfectly, but I'm sure if I had left them in a little bit longer, they would have. But I think that's pretty clean. And now throw the stuff back into the engine. So now we are going to clean this up so we can get it painted. I got some of this Eastwood 2K gray. I picked gray so if there are leaks and stuff down the road, they're easy to find. Sometimes the black will hide it. And get this sprayed in, and then pretty much have everything I need to put it back together. So that will be next. I did just finish the garage, so everything is coated in a little bit of sawdust, but should be pretty good here. This looks pretty clean. So I will clean the surfaces up here just so I can take this off, and we'll go from there. I did put some WD-40 on this before I put it in storage in here, so I wouldn't get any rust, surface rust coming up, and everything looks nice and clean. The thing about these red rags, they kind of fall apart when they hit sharp edges, but we're in good shape here. I'm going to spray this to make it look good like the rest of the engine does. You saw me clean this up earlier in the video, so it's getting there. Gotta wait for it to warm up a tiny bit before we can really spray. That spray is supposed to be downward in the around 70 degrees. I can't afford to wait that long because that probably won't be till May, but I think once I get into the 60s out here, which will be hopefully soon, will be good. It's about 50 degrees now, so a little too cool in here today, but we'll get after that soon. That will need to go on for a while anyway. That goes to the head. But this is in a good spot so that we can start putting it together. Maybe we can put the oil jets in here. I wanted to spray those out. Let me pull them out of the box here. One thing I will do since I clean them is I'm just going to do a little blast of air through them, make sure that they're completely clear before they're in the engine. Don't want those clogged up. Let me put some more air. And there's a little bit of dirt coming out of these. I can feel it because it's hitting me in the face. So it's good that we did this. Now, one thing I did do was I wrote down all the torque settings for the torque wrench in my phone. Tried to get as many of them as I could put together before I started doing this, so I wouldn't have to be searching the internet every single time it was time to torque a boat. So let's flip this over and do the oil jets here. Passages look nice and clean. We got 27 Newton meters for the oil jets. So we'll use the little guy here and we will set that to 27, which is all the way at the top here. 27.3 locked in. So we can get all these started in here. I'll come back and torque them. So these little things just help oil the piston. Like I said, I'm just snugging these up and then I'll come back through with the torque wrench and torque them to spec, if you will. Go ahead and torque all these down. All right, let's tape this thing off. Try a little hack I learned online for getting chance to rip off around the edges here. Heard that if you use a rubber mallet around the edge, you can get it to basically cut itself. Got a rubber mallet here, and you're supposed to just tap around the edges. And you're able to rip this off basically perfectly. Let's see how we did. So there's 2 layers of tape over here, so that's probably why this one's not working great. But where there's 1 layer, you can see it's working pretty good. You can see where the hammer kind of worked. Not as effective as I would have liked, but it definitely helped. I think the biggest thing it does is it helps like get you a good seal around the edges. You can kind of find the edges a little easier once you hit it. These dowels are. So just to align the head when you're putting it on.
This love that you want. The joy, this love that you want.
Probably take the caps off to spray it, so I'm not going to tape those off. But this stuff, obviously,
that you want. But yeah, and I think it's don't come.
Look right here. Gotta block that off too. So I guess I'll tape it on the inside like this. So now we'll turn this over and we'll pull the main caps off. Machine shop had to put them on for the line hone, but we will pull them off real quick. We'll just zap them off with an impact gun. Call that a day. I'm gonna have to get a deep socket. I want to keep the studs in here. Easier to get everything all together. One thing I will do while I have this out is just make sure those are all snug. There's a lot of schools of thought about whether to put thread lock in your studs, lock them in the block. The thing about that is if you ever need to take it apart, or one of these breaks, which I have had happen, not in the mains but in the head, and they're thread locked in there, they're almost impossible to get out, and we don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and snug it with this, and that should be enough. keep them in there, and once everything's torqued down, and these things take a good amount of torque, they are not going to be going anywhere. At this, I'm going to put the main caps on this towel because, like I said, I just finished working on this garage and everything is covered in sawdust. Hopefully tomorrow is a little bit warmer out so I can spray this. Yeah? Yeah, one sec. Probably a little cold to be doing this out here, but I'm gonna go for it anyway. Painted, so stuff dries relatively quick, so I will get it back up on the engine stand here soon and start putting it together. And just a quick thing on the paint. This is the first time I've used this. This is Eastwood's 2K primer, or 2K engine primer paint. Yeah, it seems to have good coverage, looks pretty good, so I'm going to give that a try. Not sure if I'm going to actually coat it again or not, but this will work for now. We'll call that finished product here. Got 2 coats of primer, 2 coats of paint, and it's looking pretty good.
What are you fixing? Quit.
Alright, so now I'm just going to peel the tape off before the paint completely dries, and then just dry up overnight, and we will get to assembling. So this episode is getting a little bit long. It is the longest one that I have recorded and edited to date, so thank you for hanging out to the end if you're still here. I'll have another episode out here shortly where we'll be putting together the bottom end of this engine, and I'll try to get it out here in the near future. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.